Hey guys, welcome back to ADSR Massive Tutorials. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, get yourself subscribed, youtube.com/ADSR Tuts. Today we're going to be remaking this kind of techno mini Moog-esque bass sound. And discussing some processing options going on with this sound. You can download this patch directly from the massivesynth.com website. There's a link appearing on the screen. Download that patch directly, but we're going to recreate it here anyway. I'm going to take off this distortion I've got on this instance of Massive and just create a new sound in here. So for starters, let's go ahead and program the oscillators. So I'm going to go on this first oscillator and take the pitch down by 2 octaves and change it to a smooth square. Then bring the wavetable round to about a quarter of the way round there. This is kind of like, it's quite subby, it's almost like a sine wave, a bit of square in there as well. And turn on oscillator 2 now. Keep this as a square saw 1 and just take the pitch down by 1 octave. And then let's detune this oscillator. So go minus 11.94. We're starting to get that kind of mini Moog sort of sound, you know, using those kind of sawtooths and square waves and detuning them slightly and just getting that really nice warm sound. So oscillator 3, turn that on. This can stay as a square saw 1, but let's bring the wavetable position to about 2/3 of the way. So we've got a bit more square wave in the sound. So if we wanted it more like a lead sound, we could keep the pitch at 0, but I'm actually going to take the pitch down by 2 octaves. A bit more bassy, and then again I'm going to detune it. So kind of 0.8 cents in the other direction. And what we want now is a nice consistent bass sound, so I'm going to go to the oscillator section here, check the restart via gate box. Master down a bit. And go to the voicing section, make the sound monophonic as well. So I'm going to actually take the glide off this sound, but it's entirely up to you if you wanted to keep that glide on there, but don't really want any glide on there. So move to this filter section now. I'm going to use a filter in filter 2 slot. I'm going to use a Daft filter. It's probably the most analog sounding of the filters, and we're trying to recreate that mini Moog-esque vibe. So I want the analog sound going on. So Daft filter, take the resonance to about 1/3 of the way, push the volume of this filter up, and bring the mix slider down to mix 2. Bring the cutoff around to about maybe a quarter of the way round, and I'm going to use an envelope to control the cutoff frequency here. So this first modulation envelope, click and drag the crosshair this envelope to the first modulation slot on the cutoff frequency of filter 2. Click and drag up, not all the way round to maybe, you know, just so it's about 3/4 of the way round. So set this envelope up, sharpen up the attack a little bit, decay can maybe just push a little bit past halfway, sustain down to 0. Back the attack off slightly. It's got that nice kind of bassy envelope shape, and I'm actually going to do something else here. Use envelope 2 and use this to modulate the mix slider here, the 2 filters. So by taking this, clicking and dragging up, I'm actually introducing a bit of unfiltered sounds. If I use this, took this off for now, move the mix slider up, we're getting an unfiltered sound. So what we could do is use an envelope to just kind of control and modulate a bit of that unfiltered kind of sound into the kind of like bass sound that we have here. So, and just use a very sharp kind of envelope. It's just bringing a little bit of extra top end into the sound if I turn that off. Just bringing a little bit of extra top end into the sound. It's going to help it cut through a mix. So let's move over to the effects section now. I'm going to use some classic tube just to give the sound a nice bit of drive. and the dimension expander just to give it a kind of real sense of depth. So take the size down, because increasing the size is also going to increase the width of the sound and add a bit of stereo width to the sound, because it's a bass sound. We don't want really kind of any width on there, so keep the size at 0, but try to work around about further away. And yeah, you've got a bit of stereo movement going on that you wouldn't necessarily want, so you could use some kind of stereo imaging tool to get rid of that, but it just really brings the sound to life, that dimension expander. Bit of EQ now as well, just boost a bit of low shelf. And also kind of a little bit lower mids. And one final thing, I'm going to get rid of this vibrato macro that kind of automatically gets set up here, and I'm going to use this as a kind of side chain for this envelope modulation here. So now we've got a nice option for kind of automating the sound, and you could call this filter or filter mod. And so now to the effects. That's the sound setup there. So move over here and look at this FabFilter Saturn that I've kind of used to distort the sound. The reason I've used FabFilter Saturn is because it's multi-band distortion. So I've actually distorted the sound, and I've just distorted the kind of middle, you know, from 300 Hertz up to about 1.5K. I've driven quite hard really. And then I've also done a similar thing with the kind of high frequencies, but I've also boosted the gain of this middle frequency up a little bit as well. So take it off. The great thing about that is the real low end of the sound is completely untouched by this distortion. If I didn't have that kind of multi-band thing going on, it would just be driving the low end and wouldn't really be touching the kind of mids and highs. But because I've muted this, just taking it off there like that, the low end, it should be muted. Just getting this nice kind of bit of crunch on the mids and the high frequencies. And also got this Valhalla Uber mod, kind of like a chorus effect really, modulation effect. So I actually had this on there. It's just an idea for some automation. So I'm going to play back this loop and then show you what you could do with this kind of effect really. So of course you've got the bass sound. You could automate this filter mod here. Close that for now. Just mute the kick and the snare. Let me just get it a little bit deeper. Turn on this Uber mod. Gives that really big sort of kind of warped chorus effect really. Mute this at the same time as unmuting the kick. Bring the kick back in, bring the snare back in. Start automating again. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, please get in touch, let us know. You can download that patch directly from the MassiveSynth.com website. Whilst you're there, check out all the other stuff we've got on there for Massive, loads of tutorials. Yeah, thanks for watching. Alright, cheers, bye.